What's up guys, and welcome back to another video on my channel. And today I want to give another update on the current roller coaster ride in the crypto market, an update on the indicators, and to answer the question why we are likely not ready yet to rally, when this will happen, and when I will turn super bullish. And maybe you have noticed that I didn't had upload a video for I think 2 or 3 days right now. That is because I was in Berlin visiting my friend. With him I have developed the indicators and also the algorithm, and that was the reason why I have visited. And yesterday I had a very big lack of sleep, but that's a different story. But that was the reason why I didn't have uploaded it yesterday. But of course I have given a little Patreon update right here. And by the way, if you didn't have subscribed to Patreon, make sure to do that. That is the first link in the video description. There you get all these updates live and in real time. Also when I buy, when I sell, why I buy, why I sell. So basically everything you get right there. So that is the right address for you. And I would say let's jump straight into that. Let's jump straight into the update from yesterday. And we can directly jump right here to the market update because, oops, that was my mouse again, because the introduction is, that I was in Berlin. And here in the market update, I will quickly read that to you. Today everything is red again, especially altcoins. I have mentioned that in my last video that likely we will have a pullback in the Bitcoin dominance to the 38.2 to the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. That is the rectangle you can see in the first photo. Let me quickly show you that. That is this one right here. So basically this rectangle right here, that is the 38.2 and the 61.8 Fibonacci retracement level. But here I have to mention that I didn't have expected that this will happen in form of a bigger drop in altcoins. My higher probability was that Bitcoin would take off first after this correction and alts would lag behind, and with that Bitcoin would gain back market dominance. But that was proven wrong, and also the bottom for a majority of altcoins has also been broken. In Bitcoin so far not. In case we should do that, then my next target zone would be, as you can see in the Bitcoin chart picture, between the 27.7k and the 30k level. That was the previous low. And let's right now switch into the Bitcoin chart right here. You can see basically this one right here would be the next target zone. That is these lows right here, starting with the recent low and then putting us to the next support levels right here. And that is why this range right here would then be my next target. But maybe you remember that I have mentioned that in my last video that this looks pretty similar to me like what we have seen in March, not only from the price movement, also from the movement in the buyer index. Let me quickly show you that. That is basically this picture right here. So you can see this move right here looks pretty similar like what we have seen back in March 2020. And that is why I have mentioned in my last video, and I think also in my last in some of my last Patreon posts right here. Let me quickly search for that. I think that has to be this one. Yes, it is this one, and here you can see that. So was this the bottom? I think the higher chance is that this was the bottom. So that was back when Bitcoin made the first major drop. So right here, you can see that right here. Also, it was the 19th of May, and you can see it right here. It was the higher chance that this was the bottom that we saw today, especially because we have kicked out this many buyers. However, I also have to say that I think that likely the market is not yet ready to go higher, because likely that could take a little more time till we also have a turnaround in the buyer index like we had the last time back in March and October 2020, marked red in the second picture. So we could expect now some more moves to kick out the last buyers, maybe a retest of the low, and then after we have also seen a bottom in the buyer index. plus the turnaround, then we are at this point like in March and October 2020, where then the market was ready to rally. So that is something that I've also mentioned in this post and also in some of my last videos right here. That for me, the most likely was that we are repeating something like in March 2020, and you can see that right here. You can see that right here, that here we also had something similar. You can see it here. I have also pointed that out. We had the pull, not the pullback, the bounce to the upside right here, but then also after 3 days we have come down. That was, you can see it right here, from the high right here to the low. That was 26%, 25.92% drop, but we not have made a new low right here, just a little, yeah, let's say retest. Of course it didn't have retested it exactly, but we had another, let's say 26% drop, and then starting to move up again. And let's take a look into the current correction right here. You can see that also we had the bounce to the upside. This one right here was the highest point. Let's take a look at how much we have dropped after this. So we have dropped 27.63%, so that is, yeah, not even 1% more than in March, but this is a similar pattern right here for me, and that is something that I've also mentioned, and I have mentioned that because we have seen a similar picture in the buyer index. Let's continue right here with the update on the buyer index. You can see that right here. That was my mouse again, sorry. So that was this one right here. So in the buyer index so far we have seen a jump up to the -43 levels, and currently we are back down at -48. So here it is the same as in Bitcoin price. So far no new bottom, even if altcoins are under pressure. Also, of course, so far we not have the turnaround in the buyer index. And let me quickly show you that in this picture, because here I can zoom in. So that is the most recent one. That is even a newer one than in the post that I've showed you right here. And you can see that we have moved up right here. That was I think -43, and then got back down. So in the last update it was, so in basically in this update right here, it was at the -47 level. Then today I have also given a little update right here, so that is basically this picture. But as I said, here I can zoom in and you can see we have moved up to the -43 level. Then last night we have made a new low to the -50 level right here. And in case you not know that, right here back in March the lowest level was -55, and here I think it was -57, so that was basically in October. And yeah, currently we are back at the -47 level. So just made it was for a very short period of time we have made a new low, and it was also a tiny new low, but that is where we are currently at in the buyer index. And I already have given a little hint right here, when do I will become super bullish again, and when do I think the market is ready to rally. And that is, let me quickly show that to you right here. That is the picture. So what I'm basically waiting for right now is that we will have the turnaround right here, that we will have the turnaround in the buyer index, and once that has happened, then very likely the market is ready to rally. And I can show you that what has happened the last time that has happened. So when the buyer index was turning around, that was right here in October. At this day, at the 18th of October, on this day the buyer index has turned around. You can see, and that is also what I mentioned, that was not the price low of this correction. So price low was right here, but the turnaround in the buyer index was here. But once the turnaround has happened, then the market is ready to rally, and you can see what has happened afterward. So once the buyer index has turned around, the market has gone up significantly. And for me the highest probability is that likely when this will happen again, that we will also see something similar again. But so far we have not seen this, so we have not a turnaround yet. But I think that likely we have seen the bottom in the correction, like I have said in the last updates. In Bitcoin, that was so far that was right, and I think that So for me, the highest probability is that this won't change. But in some altcoins that were not right, so in some altcoins we have quickly dipped below the last low right here, made a new low, but right now also jumping back up. So that is something that we can also see right now. So for me, the most likely is really so far that we are repeating something similar like what we have seen back in March. So something like here, that we will have here a little sideways movement with some up and down, and then when the buyer index is turning around, then this likely will be the point where the market is ready to rally again. We have kicked out all the buyers that didn't belong in this market, and then we can start the next major move to the upside, and that will then also be the point when I become super bullish again, as I said, with this one right here. So with this drop in the buyer index, I became bullish, and when we have the turnaround, then I will become super bullish again. And as I said, as soon as this will happen, you will get notified immediately on Patreon, so definitely make sure to check out the first link. And then in the end, I also want to take a quick look into the comments right here, because I think we have 2 questions. That's also what I have said right here. So in case you should have any questions, feel free to just write them down in the comment and I will answer them in tomorrow's video. And the first question is this one right here. I do have a question. Did this correction extend the bull market, or is it still for the same time frame, 2021 till 2022? And that is a good question, because you know, my target for the peak of this bull market was between the end of 2021, so basically this year, to the end of 2022. But in case you have not seen this, how I got to this conclusion, let me quickly explain so you can understand this. So I have basically done a research on the historical data, and from this point, the most likely scenario was till the end of 2021. So that's also my personal favor, highest probability scenario, so that we will peak out somewhere around the end of this year, maybe the beginning of next year. So that is the most likely from that research. But also that research is showing that it is possible that this bull market could extend, and that is why I have given it a 50% time extension, which was bringing us to the end of 2022. So that is basically the extension time window right there. And we have also talked a lot about this in this market stage right here. So basically since here, that was the point where the buyer index first has visited the extreme dangerous levels in the buyer index. So that is basically the point where I have started to expect the correction in the market. And we have done this move right here. We have kicked out some buyers first, but then we have made a new all-time high. With this new all-time high, we have made a new high in the buyer index right here. But then after that, we have started to kicking out some buyers. And that was the market stage where we have discussed about that, and where we had this topic a lot, because there was 2 possible scenarios for me right there. The first one was that basically after the first kick out of the buyers, we just continue to go higher, and then when the buyer index again is at the extreme dangerous levels, we are correcting a little bit again. But basically that we are starting to going into the parabolic market stage, so something like we have seen in the end of 2017, in the beginning of 2018, so basically at the peak of the last bull market. So that was the first possible scenario. And then I have also said, okay, then likely that we are at the very end of the bull market, but that was definitely my lower probability scenario. My higher probability scenario was that we are correcting in the buyer index, also that in Bitcoin that we are visiting the 21 weekly moving average again, because we not have seen that for a very long time. And we have done that. Right now you can see that we are way below the 21 weekly moving average, but that is basically nothing that is overextending my expectations right now of this bull run. That is just something that needs to happen, and that is just giving me some more confidence that this bull market likely is still on track with my prediction, so that we will peak out somewhere at the end of this year to the end of next year. But as I said, for me, most likely is that this will be somewhere around the end of this year till the beginning of next year. So that is for me the most likely scenario. But it can be that we are overextending a little bit. But once we are there, likely we will see it again. If you want to know how we can see this, I will link you my exit strategy video right here. There you can get all the details. So I have given a little more detailed answer right here, but basically the short answer on this question right here is that we are extending on the bull market. So the second scenario that I have described before is off the table for me, so that we are at the very end of this bull market. That for me right now is very unlikely, and that is why we are extending the bull market, but just to my previous mentioned target, so the end of 2021 till the end of 2022. So basically right now everything for me is still on track. So my prediction so far is still on track and very likely for me. So the highest probability for me is that we will peak out somewhere around the end of this year till the beginning of next year. But as I said, could be that we are extending, but that is for me also the lower probability scenario. Then let's take a look into the second question, because I think there was a second question right here. Yeah, on today's post, and that is this one right here, and that is basically the question: are we going to test 30k again? What are the chances? Yeah, I pretty much have described that before. So for me, still the highest probability is that we are repeating something like in March, and that would say that this one right here, what we have seen yesterday, was likely the last move, so the last big move to the downside, and the last retest of this, yeah, that was a retest of the 31k level. So for me, most likely is that this one right here was the last really big retest, and that right now we will have maybe some up and downs, but no serious downsides right here. So that would be the lower probability for me. Then also at the very end, I also want to show you the fear and greed index. What we not have seen for a very long time is that we have let me quickly open that right here, so we can see that, yeah, currently we are at the 10 extreme fear levels, and we not have seen that we were at these levels right here for such a long time. Also, the last time it was back in March 2020. So as I said, there are lots of things that remind me of this crash back in March 2020, and that is also why I compare it with that. And yeah, that is also something that I want to show you, that currently we are in the extreme fear levels for a couple of days, and that is also a very positive sign that maybe the opinion of a majority of peoples are changing right now from super bullish maybe into neutral, maybe into fear. That is great, because that gives the market more potential to grow, gives the market more power again. And also right here, as we can see in the buyer index, lots of buyers got kicked out, which is also a very positive sign. That is the reason why I'm bullish again. And as I said, as soon as the turnaround is happening, I am super bullish again, and then I will of course notify you, and then I think we can likely go into the next major move to the upside right here. And in case there should be any more questions, just feel free to write them down in the comments. If this video was helpful, then please leave a like, subscribe to this channel so you won't miss out any future updates. That's it for this video. See you in the next one, and as always, have a nice day.